ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। भक्त्या एकान्तिनो मुख्याः कंठावरोध लोमांच अश्रुभिः परस्परं लपमानाः पावयन्ति कुलानि पृथिवीं च। These are the 67-68 sutras. तीर्थी कुर्वन्ति तीर्थानि Bhaktya ekantino mukhyaha. I was talking about this ekanta. I gave the idea of what is the difference between the ekanta in this idea of loneliness against aloneness. Another very important aspect of this ekanta is it is very internal aspect. Ekanta is an internal aspect. It's not a question of outside. In the beginning, we might be looking for an outside that you would like to be having in a place where we are. But once you get the taste of ekanta, then it doesn't actually depend on the outside. And this is one aspect of it. It's an internal practice, internal idea of ekanta. The second thing about ekanta is that I'm in ekanta with who? With myself or with the divinity, with the God, with the divinity, or with that feeling of divinity. Why it is? Because the simple thing is that anything that we perceive in the world outside also, my perception is my own perception. Nobody else has similar kind of perception. Nobody can see the way that I am looking at the world. So therefore, it is something which the idea that I have about me is absolutely mine. In fact, it's so beautiful said that even though the twins may be there, one person looks at the parents is different from the other way, other person looks at the parents. You see, the very simple thing is one of the twins might look at the parents are wonderful, but the other part of the twin, other person, the twin, will say that yes, they have been partial to my brother, not me. See, so that means there itself there is a difference between that. So there are two persons and the world has a similar kind of perception. So that means your perception and perception means the way that you connect with is absolutely your own. Now let us go back to that statement of earlier thing, Trirupa Bhanga Purvakam. So in that, the connection between me and the world outside is absolutely my own. So my perception, it can't be replaced by anybody else or anything else. Anybody cannot give anything like that for that matter. So therefore, it is absolutely your own. In that your own perception, can you make this supposed to be connection in such a way that both these things merge and only the connection that is there between that will emerge. That is what is the real ekanta. Now, in ekanta, I am also not there, the other person is also not there, the other is also not there. Because if one is there, the other will be there. The beginning itself I said that Brahman created these two. A relation between each other is something which is Brahman. So if one merges, the other merges. Like for example, food is not there. Hunger itself does not have any meaning. If hunger is not there, food itself doesn't mean anything. That's what I was saying that earlier, that jnana, jnatru, when both these things are jnatru, jnaya, both these things are to merge, then only jnana will be there. As long as, and that's alone. That's what we were discussing about Saraswati. Now, Gupta Gavini, that's what is the idea that we have. So, now look at the way that it is, and it is applied in everywhere. When we say that Annavan, Annadobhat, it's applicable to anything, in the sense that Grahana Gruhitva, that means one who is taking and one object outside, and then Grahana aspect is there in between is the Brahman. is the aspect of it, in whatever way it can be there. In that sense, when we look at it, that the absolute relationship that you create one-on-one, snug fitting, absolute total, that is the connection between that's how it is given as a guru and Antevasi. See, the word Antevasi for the Sishya has come in Sanskrit because Ante Avas, that means he is now what it is, but ultimately he becomes that. That is the kind of connection between these two. Then only knowledge flows. Acharya Purvarupam, Anteva Siddharupam, Vidya Sadhi. So all these statements of the Upanishads, various Shastras will show that how this connection between these two have to be there. If that connection is absolutely perfect, absolutely snug fitting, connected, then it is supposed to be the Ekanta. So when you say that Ekanta, then it is not with the world outside. There may be the whole market that is there, but in the whole market, I may be in the state of Ekanta. So it's not the question of some God, something like that, but it is there itself, I can be in the state of Ekanta. That means if I have that connection in the market itself with somebody who, out of 100,000 people are there, but if I connect with the teacher in such a way that it is absolutely teacher is addressing me, and that connection is created, that becomes like Ekanta. So now when you look at it, the way that Krishna has been with the Gopikas, such a way that on the Rasa, there were 16,000 Gopikas, and the way that Krishna connected with them is so much as Ekanta Sthiti. That's why he lived with all the 16,000 Gopikas and 16,000 Krishnas. When people don't realize this aspect of it, they think that Krishna has become many because he has got supernatural power to become many, to be each one of them. It is not like that. Actually, it is not that 16,000 Gopikas. Whoever has connected with Krishna were Gopika. That's what Mirabai, the statement of Mirabai also says that anybody is Krishna. For me, there is no only one man, that's what is Krishna. There's somebody else is there. So for everybody, Krishna was only one that way connected with them. So in the Rasa Krida, it is not just only the Gopikas, but even the cows that were there, even the bushes that were there, and the river that was there, everything was connected with Krishna in such a way that there was Ekanta Sthiti that was manifesting there. And that Ekanta Sthiti, as I've said last time, is the highest state of spiritual growth. In one night, Krishna could give that kind of an Ekanta experience to the whole of Gokul, that whole of Vrindavan that was there. That's the reason why Vrindavan has become such an extraordinary, wonderful spiritual center, because in one evening, he brought the love to that supreme sense of experience that 16,000 species have been completely merged in the field of Ekanta with Krishna.
So the equivalent word of love in Sanskrit is prema.
Prema.
Now in prema,
yes,
the question was like that. There seems to be duality. There seems to be.
See, prema is such an extraordinary, wonderful thing. It is a bridge between the duality to individuality. That's the only experience that human being has, which hovers between the Dvaita to Advaita. Dvaita to Advaita. Other than that, we don't have any experience of Advaita. That's what in Prema, Narada calls it as Ananyata. In Prema, there's Ananyata. That means it starts with Anyatva, but then it culminates into Ananyata. And when it becomes Ananyata, this becomes like Bhakti. When this Dvaita becomes concretized, then it becomes Kama. That means you want to take advantage of it. You want to get the benefit out of it. You want to make use of it. In fact, this is what is the idea that in Kama there are expectations.
Kama duality is there.
Duality.
Prema over.
Yes. And Bhakti.
What did you say, prema?
Duality is there. There's hovering between.
Yeah. Yes. Then it has, like the way that life And I keep saying that prana is upward journey. The light itself has upward journey. Everything is upward journey. Like the same way that prema has its character to go in the upward direction. And it takes
the story of Rama,
yeah.
Janaka telling Rama.
Yeah.
Now you give.
Yes, you give. That's what. Because you don't keep anything, you just give it.
So actually there is no
right. Yes, you give it. You give it not because that there's something, it is you only. That's why you give it. So this happens when you are in the state of, and at that level, you know, the kind of experience that you have, by the way that you already, prema is the level where you have transcended the level of intellect. And bhakti is that you have gone so far away from that. And intellectual activities do not come into the picture there. It's not the question that you intellectualize anything, or not because that you have seen anything of that. That's what is the next level. What are the activities at that level when you have transcended the intellect? And that is where he says that Kantavaroda, Romancha, Ashrubi. Because all these things, Kantavaroda, that means to say, Kanta is actually walk. Avarodha, earlier we have seen that awak, you become expressionless. What can you express? What can you say about that? Because expression and all that belongs to the intellect. And so this is something which is much more. So then, therefore, in that state, the experiences of Kanta Avarodha, that means there is no expression that is related to the intellect. Because the moment that you try to express that, it actually you are bringing it down. In the Ramakrishna story, there's a very beautiful situation that is there. You know, Keshav Chandra is been absolutely non-believer of Vedanta and all that. And after coming to Ramakrishna, he became. And then he spent so much time in praying to the God and all that sincerely. And Ramakrishna asked him, "What do you pray, God?" I said, "I really am thankful to the God because he has given me this and that. All these things in you." Ramakrishna feels depressed. He said, "Sad." I said, "I told you something nice, and then earlier that I never used to have this faith in God. But now I have faith in God, I pray to the God, and you say that you are depressed about it." Yeah. Well, then Ramakrishna says, if God has not given all those things, then you do not pray to the God. So praying is not that God has given me all these things. All these things are there. So, but you just joyfully pray to Him. That means you become one with that. So,
is it good to have gratitude?
Even see, there is one level gratitude, but one level beyond it is where is the question of gratitude? Because you are one with that. It's like the way that your right hand is doing something, left hand gives a support to it.
Yeah.
Right hand doesn't thank the left hand that you have supported me. Because at that moment that the duality appears. The moment that you say you are grateful, gratitude, duality appears. To start with, at least, rather than going for God for with a wish list and with a demand list, from that one level that raising is that gratitude. But gratitude is also still duality exists. But here in this case, when you are come to this level where it has become like ekantanaha, at that level, there is no question even with gratitude. My legs, I don't thank my legs that you have brought me to the sunset. No, see, part of me, that's all. There's no question. That's why you can see in children, there is no gratitude. The children relationship is that, hey, come on, you do it because you're part of me. That is the kind of thing. There's no gratitude. We try to enforce, yeah, thank you. So much so that, you know, that you take the water in the tap and thank the tap in the water.
Say thank you, say thank you.
Say thank you, say thank you, like that. A long time ago when I was in college, I had, actually at that time I got to USA and then came back. And then I told my friend, she's there, Neelima, she was there, she's there in Delhi now. So I said, you know, USA is very nice that they thank for everything. Then she said, Thanking means basically there's a distance, whereas India we don't thank because we are together. We are one. Wow, what a wonderful statement you made at that time.
No, very well.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, there is no, it's so mechanical, it's so
Mechanical.
yeah, it's so mechanical, comes like this. And then so next time you also thank. Expectation also builds up from the moment that your thankfulness comes into the picture. No, that there is no expectation. You are there. There's another thing is that today God has given this, tomorrow God has given me something else. So do I evaluate now? See, God has given me good food today, so I thank God. That means tomorrow, if He doesn't give this good food, then what will happen to you? And then who said that who is given to you? Why God has given you something different? Then you start blaming God. See, all these things appear because that basically that you have gratitude. Kantavarodha, in the sense that you rise to the level where even this expression does not come to the existence of a gratitude. So, Kantavarodha, words fail to come, words fail to explain about that. In fact, that's a very important thing. And in fact, what happens is that it's not just only the between the, in the case of Kanta love, in any case that this kind of thing will happen, child to parent or brothers to brother. Actually, what happens is a very beautiful idea is that young days that there is always this particular love of opposite sex, opposite gender will be there. But as we have grown up, actually, you see that there is a transformation takes place in the case of love itself. It becomes more of vatsalya, that means to say your love for a child, love for a youngster. You see that automatically it becomes like that, it transforms itself. When it transforms itself, then what we have earlier, what is the way that we have given the value for the this is what the way that love is connected with only the opposite gender that they have given. That's a very small little range of life. If you don't get caught up in that, then easily it can transform into a love for elderly people. And at that time itself, if you have that, then slowly you become elderly and others become like children. So your love for the child, for the whole mankind, it happens like that. Like the way that in the case of that there is no question of expectation. Further also, as we grow up, there is no question of expectation. There is no question of self-aggrandizement. Will not be there. That is the kind of thing it has to be there. When this happens, this kind of connect, when that happens, actually, then what happens? If anybody you see anything done by anybody or appreciated, immediately you see that your hair rises. Kantha varuda romancha, ashrubhi. You see this?
Yes.
Yeah, you run the tears in your eyes. I just see our own students and Prashanti, children Prashanti doing something. Yes, it immediately get the tears. Wow, such wonderful this thing happened here like this. You see, this Ashru naturally happens. Ashru is connected with negativity. That was a wrongly cultivated idea about that. Particularly, you say that why you are crying as if it's something which is wrong. Why I see the tears. Many times, what happens is that when I'm explaining it, the other day also it happened like that, explaining about Hanuman's story, the way that they were, I could see in their eyes also tears coming up. Why? I couldn't speak any more. I'm not giving the talk. Supposed to give, I first choked myself. Kantavaroda, Romanch, Ashrubi, all these things happen when you are in that state. Ashrubi. When this way, your Ashru, Kantavaroda, Romancha, all these things are, now what happens? They're dedicated for the enriched aspect of love. When it happens, that's what it says. Kantavaro romancha ashrubihi. That is parasparam lapaman. It's only between these two, lapamana, other than you resonate with each other. They resonate with each other. Then pavayanti kulagi. That's what is purifying the whole thought, purifying the whole atmosphere. Pavayanti kulani prithvi. the Prithvi, the earth is something which has become sacred because of this kind of an activity. This kind of an activity. In fact, first time when I went to Heidelberg, I gave in the Heidelberg University, I gave the talk on love. And Heidelberg University has this South Asia Studies department, and the professor of that, which was earlier held by Max Muller. And now he died, but actually last. He was Fisher Barnipol, he was there. He was there in my talk, a big man, 6 feet, 4 inches, German made, strong person, very heavy. And he was there in the talk. And after the talk, can I meet you tomorrow? He said, okay, you can come and meet. Then he came to the place where I was staying. And then afterwards, several times he met me. And then he said, Raghuram, this talk that you have given is extraordinary. He had tears in his eyes, said extraordinary. I still remember that talk yesterday I given. And I want that we should go and give this talk to everywhere in the world. This is everybody thinks yoga is not this, but this is real yoga, he said. Very, very close to me.
Today I wanted to tell you that the moment this talks,
Yeah.
other outlet is the tears.
Yeah, that's right. Other outlet. It's like, other outlet for the talk is that tears will come out. So, Romancha Ashrubihi, all these
I wanted
things.
to tell that the next word is here, same thing.
Yeah.
How beautifully Narada has brought it.
Right. And Pavayanti Kulan. You see, when all these things, the relationship is there between in the world. And the relationship, when it is degenerated, any kind of relationship, it ends up in karma. It ends up in demand, expectations. When the moment it is not just only at that level, it is raised above to the level of bhakti. And that's what is the state where it becomes like this. This is what is called as Pavayanti. That means to say, it cannot come down to the material level. So,
But in the mantra state, you feel the oneness.
yes, that oneness that you see with the whole world. That's the kind of thing. Pavayanti
So
Kulan.
in Ekanta, is there Guptagami?
Yes, Ekanta means Guptagami. Ekanta means Guptagami.
Oh.
See, that means the other two are the only ends. But the ends do not have. In fact, you see, look at the same thing. I always say, even in the Narada Bhakti Sutra, I said, dharana is not what you do. Because it's just you fix your eyes on that. Samadhi, what you do not do, because that eye is not there. So what is there in between is dhyana. Dhyana is the Guptagamini.
Defocusing.
Yeah, it is dissolving. You're just dissolving. If you say that you are going to the river, actually going to the bank of the river, but that is the river? No, it's only the bank. River is what is there flowing in between. That we need to go. This jump is what is called as dhyana. That's why we have also dhyana mandiran, dhyana this thing there. Nobody says that dharana, nobody says samadhi. Samadhi is not what you do, but these days people.
We have Samadhi.
Yeah, let's do samadhi. Now we are doing dharana, okay, for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, 15 minutes, let's do dhyana. Then last 5 minutes, let's do samadhi. People talk about this. There are instructions we are given like that in some institutions. I laugh at the whole thing. If you really understand it, that's not the way. This is another very important aspect of it, right? Because it has come to dhyana, and it is same as the Guptagamini. See, very similar idea about this dhyana Guptagamini. Both these things are in this way that, the child dhyana is also you are caring. See, a child, if you do not care for the child will become isolated. You have to care for the child. Dhyana is something important. You have to give dhyana. Like, for example, if there are 10 people, 10 children are there, One child, nobody pays any attention to that child. Mechanically, provide everything necessary, but then don't pay any attention to the child will become sick. Paying attention is the dhyana. That means it becomes important. But at the same time, you do not do, withdraw, you are doing it and being there. This is what is dhyana. Object is there, you hold on to the object, but withdraw, you are doing anything on that. That's what is dhyana. Tadeva tatra pratyaya ekatanata dhyana. That's what is dhyana. That allow it to freely flow. It's a very tricky kind of a thing. It's a beautiful thing. And that's what really allows the growth and development. And so child grows because of dhyana. And dhyana is that Muttagamini. Dhyana is that aspect of it. Mother and child is there, but what is that the connection between them? It is not the biological connection, it's not it is supposed to be the dhyana connection. Wow. In fact, you observe that very in the airport, the child will be running around, but child from a corner will be looking at mom. The mother is following her.
And then the mother will be always very
Yeah.
there.
Wants to take the adventure, but at the same time watches that. Dhyana. This dhyana aspect is that Uttaka. Dhyana aspect is that which really, in the case of bhakti, brings about Kantha, Varodha, Lomanja, Ashmi. So, Pavayanti Kulani, that's what something which really elevates the whole Prithvi, even the whole Prithvi. Tirthi Kurvante Tirthani. 69 Sutra. Sukarmi Kurvanti Karmani. Satshastri Kurvanti Shastra. See, now the question comes, what are the places which will give us this elevation in our life? The three things. One is called as the Tirthas, and the second thing is Shastra, and then the activity, karma, that we do it. So these are the three things that are there, translated into various rituals, days, that, and Punyakshetras and all. Why do you go to this Punyakshetra? It's not because that Punyakshetra is, of course, that there is God, there is this thing, there is a feeling, all that is there. But what is that brought about in that particular Punyakshetra? The quality of all those things, it is because of people who are like this, who have got this kind of an ability to connect with that. They were there. Like, for example, if you think of Tirupati, at that time when Tirupati was not popular or anything, it was ordinary temple. At that time, Annamacharya was there. At that time, various sages were there. But they were doing that kind of an activity, that kind of connection with that oneness with the divinity. That's why it became a great Tirupati, Punyasthana. Kaladi was nothing before Shankaracharya. But Shankaracharya coming there made all those things, made that like that. Same way about Tiruvannamala we talking about. Ramana Maharshi created that kind of a. It is because of the Tirtha, that because of his presence it has become Tirtha. So Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani. What happens is that normally people go to Tirtha to get elevated, to feel that spiritual presence, spiritual development. But these are the people who make that place to be potential spiritual development places. Their very presence creates that kind of a thing. So that's why it's not that they have to go to the Tirtha. Where they are there, Tirtha will develop. Like any other temple, like many other temples that were there, even the Dakshineshwar temple also. But that Dakshineshwar temple has become extraordinary because of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. That's what Mathur Babu says. Mathur Babu is the son of Rani Rasmani. He says to Rani Rasmani, can you see what's happening there? He says that the temple is not become sanctified on the day we consecrated, but temple is sanctified because of the Ramakrishna's presence. Now I can see the God presence there. The way that he talks, the way that he does, that's the God presence is there. So you feel that God's presence around that area because somebody has lived that kind of a life there. And his life made that. In fact, even in the Kakabushandu story also says that you seem to be an extraordinary saint, Narada says, because what is that? I see that 5 miles around the area, the whole forest like springs, like the way that it is fresh, fragrance, everything. It must be your effect. Your presence will be permeated in the around that area like that. Where you are there, automatically the things will change to themselves in that direction. That's why we have what is called as, there is a, I don't know how much it is there, but it must be something which should be there. What is called as a random energy generator, REG experiment that we are doing. A place where intensely people feel that way, a lot of people and saint and all that. Then the place will have the idea of predictability. Predictability is that, and you think of a number, and then that is generated, and that generation will happen more frequently than anywhere else. Ordinary place when we do it in Prashanti, something like that, the egg may be small. But whereas when there's a congregation having a nice, wonderful uh, bhajan, kirtan, and program and all, the egg goes up.
Same thing about a cow. The cow is there.
Yeah.
Around that one perimeter around it, they say around 50 meters, 100 meters around this kind of this vibration created. I was thinking on this, and then I saw that the cow is very, it is life sustaining. It gives milk.
Yes.
And even its cow is sustaining life around.
Yes. In fact, some people intensely, this is what Patanjali also says, that you intensely live a thought, around that the thought permeates. Ahimsaya pratishtaya tatsanido vedataka. And it is the case of Gandhi. There's a very beautiful incident that happened in the Gandhi movie, he has shown it. So the Prime Minister said, the secretary was there, okay, who is that in delegation meeting? He said that Gandhiji, Mahatma Gandhi is coming to meet. Mahatma Gandhi is coming to meet you. I said, okay, tell me something more about him. Then he showed the newspaper cuttings and all that, and so many. So he is Mr. Gandhi. He said, yeah, he is coming to Mahatma Gandhi, he is coming to meet you. Doesn't even know how to wear dress. What way, how the people respect him? No, he's extraordinary, powerful. People really respect him. Because if you see him, you feel like respecting him. Immediately he reacted, said, don't tell me about that. And you don't respect. Said, but then he was reading the content of it. This is Mr. Gandhi. Said, but here his name is different and you say different name. And he said, Mahatma Gandhi. Said, yeah, it's the same name, Gandhi. But I called him Mahatma Gandhi. Why do you call him Mahatma Gandhi? He said that because he's a great art, he's a great soul. What is a great soul about? He doesn't even know how to dress, and he's a great soul. Yeah, that's what one feels like. Rubbish. You don't have to call him as you can call to me. No, sir, that it's not like that. You feel a respect. He said like that. By that time, the sentry comes and announces that Indian delegation is coming, and Gandhiji enters into along with other people. And then Prime Minister gets up and stands there. And then Gandhiji folds his hand and says, please sit down. You don't have to get up because I'm a delegation from a slave country. Then he looks at himself and looks at the secretary. Secretary says, you see, that's what I said. You feel like getting up, that will happen. Feel like respect. This is what happens in the Tirtha. Now, why I say about this Tirtha so much is that you go to that place, try to enjoy that feeling of elevation. Don't go there to see that, go into the crowd, fight in the crowd, get this prasada there, get this there, or fight with that fellow. Why 5 rupees for this ladu, this, that? Can you give me 2 ladu, 3 ladu? No, 1 ladu per. All these things are actually bringing you down to the ground level. That's why when I go to There's this temple. As a search for a corner where I can sit down peacefully, enjoy that particular place. Nothing more than that. This is what is the Tirtha is all about. Tirtha is a different purpose. In fact, I don't even fight for the fellow that, he has to give me whatever that, all that things I said. They are like, people will be there. Raghunatha, come on, you have to take this thing, you have to do this. I said, leave me alone. Similarly, Tirthe kurvante tirthani, sukarmi kurvanti karmani. Karma becomes a sukarma, not because of the karma itself, but because the way that you look at the bhakti aspect of it, look at the elevation aspect of it, that becomes karma. It's not that what karma you do it. Like the lady who was just helping, cleaning the place, doing all those things for Sharda Devi, she became such a great saint, Gopal and Ma. She used to come to Sharda Devi, do all that kind of things. That's all. She did not, but then she became a saintly person. It's not the question of what activity did you do it, but does that activity, with that particular attitude of elevation, Kantha, Romanja, you have that kind of thing, it elevates you. So that's how the karma becomes sukarma, whatever that you do it. And
how come this Sukarma is not come in Karma Yoga?
actually, in Karma Yoga, that's also one of the ideas that is there, how to change attitude. Shastriji always put it in the karma, Shubha Karma. Shubha Karma is like Sukarma. So there are certain activities which are supposed to be Shubha Karma that you take up. But Shastriji always added that the activity that you do it, not with the idea of the resultant of an activity, but the activity that you do, the attitude will make it as a Shubha Karma. And Shastriji always says, I cut the vegetables at home. For me, that's a Sukarma. Neatly cut it. In fact, he is very particular on that. It should be proper size. It should not be different. Like that. And I learned that from him. Picked up some place I went and then cut the fruit. He said, come and we are doing fruit. I cut the fruit. Then that girl was Radhika in USA. Prabhuji, even while cutting fruit, that we are spiritual to this. These activities, it is Sukarmi Kurvanti Karmani. It's not what karma you do it, but it becomes Sukarma when you do it with that attitude. And Sashastri Kurvanti Shastra. Shastra becomes, as I said, Shastra is Anubhav with the Shastra, it's the experience. That's what is Shastra. But I can read anything as an Anubhav. Like this morning also I was telling somebody that there are people who create they would have visited some Europe, some 3-4 countries, because their son has gone there working in Germany, so they go there and then they write a book called My Experience in 4 countries, Europe countries. Germany, France, Italy, and then I went there, had the breakfast, and this is that the book that you have read? Hey, there should be something what content in that what you did. Elevate and kind of feeling that should be there. I visited various, but I don't talk about those things, accepting that it has some content of elevation that is there. So this is the one. That means to say what you remember then, what is that you would convey to the people is something which is of an elevating nature. Sukarmi kurvanti karmani, Satshastri kurvanti shastra. These are called as Satshastri. That means to say Shastra. A very simple meaning is Shastra which guides you towards Sat. It is a Shastra which takes you towards Sat. Shastra is not giving information about what's there in Germany, France, Italy, etc., etc. But does it elevate you to give you that feeling of connection with the Sat? That's what is important. But I've gone to Turkey, so many people have gone to Turkey. But every time I tell the story of Turkey, it is not that I went there, I go to Taksim Square, I went and then went to this restaurant, that restaurant. That's not the idea. The question is, what is that which elevates? Satshastri Kurvanti Shastrani, because you see, why it happens like this is, One who has that kind of an experience, he cannot miss that experience anywhere where he goes. It is that which follows. Therefore, it becomes, if he talks about it, it becomes Satchastra. If she talks about that, it becomes Satchastra, not ordinary Shastra. Why it happens? Basically, Tanmaya. See, all these things culminate into that 17th Sutra, Tanmaya. That means to say, between the object and subject, there is so much of an identification. Only thing is that what remains is that the interaction between them is the one which remains. It's not a question of me, it's not a question of that place. Both these things get eliminated. But what is that oneness which brought about is the one which sustains. That oneness is something which is hidden behind and has to come out of it. That's what is the, in fact, in one of the Upanishads, he calls it as, this is the rahasya. It is something which is hidden behind it, hidden rahasya. So the rahasya has to come out of it, which is hidden behind it. That knowledge, when it comes out, next time when you go to similar situation, it is that which you remind again. You might go to Turkey, but then when you go to Turkey, you say that, yeah, this is what's important in the Turkey. Like a very simple idea. Many people have gone to Turkey, many people have gone to places and all that came out. And I normally give a very simple reason that the local people, they have taken me to shops. This old Istanbul, Asian part of Istanbul, and then we went there. The shop names, I read it as Bharat. I asked them why the name Bharat has come. Said in Turkey, we call it Bharat as the spice is known as Bharat, that's why it's the Bharat shops. Why they get the name of Bharat for the spices? So, we don't know. Come on, I'll tell you what it is. I said, let's go to the shop, one of the oldest shops. We went there. As an old shop, and then we went to the elderly person who was there and all that. We would like to talk to him. That was sitting. I said, okay, how long this shop? It's about 150 years and all that. So he showed his grandfather, great grandfather, grandparent. And then afterwards, in the process, they asked, where do you get these spices from? Then when he said, my grandfather time, they always used to get the spices from India. But these days we get not only from India, some from Africa, we get it and all that. He said, that's the reason why it is called as Bharat. Then also they didn't understand what do you mean by why it is called as Bharat. Then I said, this is grandparents' time. India was known as Bharat only. Bharat is the real name of India. Only thing is when Muslims came, they called it as Hindustan. And Britishers came, it became India. Otherwise, original name is Bharat. Wow, that was a big revelation for them. And then even the grandfather, yeah, now I see that. Why we call this as Bharat? He also realized that. But the next question was jolting for me. That is, said that 70 years that you have got the freedom, that why did you not change your name of the country to Bharat? You still hold on to India. That's an unfortunate thing. So, that the earlier that we change, the better it is. But this is a small little incident, but incident elevates you. So, Shastra is something which can really, then what happens is that hidden idea is something which is important. Tanmaya. That means you are that. There is no difference between you and the other. Whenever you are in the state of bhakti, at the state of love itself, it is really becoming one. Ananyata. See, these are the three steps. One is anyatva. Second thing is ananyata. And the third level is tapayatva.
Means in one word,
Huh?
word is
One word is sutra. Yeah. One word is sutra. Tanmaya.
Is Tanmayatva and Ekanta also similar?
Yes, very similar.
no, the body is merging into that concept.
Yes, you merge into the God. You and God, they are not different at all. You and the
What I
world.
consider, for example, me, you, two objects.
Yes,
Our connection.
yes,
The company.
right.
But When it rises above that,
Yes.
that is Tanmaya.
That's what is Tanmayatva. Ultimately, that becomes Tanmayatva. There are no two separate things. When that happens, that's what the next sutra says. Modanto pitrau nrityanti devataha sanathaha cheva ayam bhurbhuvati. See, what happens is that it's not just only the individual that who is into that particular state of elevation. Modanti pitrau. That means the generations, previous generations, they feel they enjoy this moment. They enjoy this becoming oneness. Why it is, it has a very deep connection between, we all have an idea of daivatva within us. That means one becomes with the divinity that genuines continuously. It is there behind it as a undercurrent. And for that, we have been doing so many things. In the process that we get caught up in my own likes and dislikes and all that. So my likes and dislikes is what is called as my priti, and daiva is second thing. So these are the two aspects which are there within. My priyatva, my daivatva. So these two aspects are there at the background behind me. And that is the reason why you say when somebody dies, we have the two different kind of, shraddha. What is called as Pitru, Pinda, and the other is Daiva aspect.
Yeah.
These two things. This is what is his Preta, and this is his Daiva. So the Daiva aspect within me is the one which continues into my next generation. Because then he also wanted to, my next generation also wanted to grow. So therefore, he tries to become that. So now, if he rises in that direction, that means to say, the part that is there within me, which I contributed, also gets elevated, which means I am also getting elevated. So, in when Shraddha is there on that particular day, like for example, I died and I'm born somewhere else. But my son is doing on that particular day Shraddha, a part of me actually will come and participate in that.
Yeah.
That's why many times we feel a little out of connection with the world outside, just either sleeping or not sleeping, drowsing, something like that. Actually, we would have gone there. We would have connected with that. So there's a big matrix in that we are connected. Now, if that Daivatva has developed, is it not helping my Daivatva also to develop? Because that's what is the connection between us. So that is how Pitru Devataha, all those generations, they will get benefited by that. It's like the way, that's why I've given one time a talk on the fabric of life. In fabric, what happens is that you hold on to one thread, lift it up. All the threads which are surrounding, they also get lifted. To some degree or the other, they may not be to the total. This is what the elevation that gets to Pitru. Modante Pitaro, they also feel rejoiced. And you become ekantata when you go into that state of this thing. Then this what is that? Tanmaya modante pitaro. In Pitrudevatas also that they grow. Nrityanti devataha. Pitrudevata deva. Nrityanti devataha. That means to say the good activities in this world, they celebrate. Nrityanti devataha. In fact, it is very beautifully said that when such a saint is there, then you can see that even the all these rutus, all these things, they behave properly. You will have the nature coordinating with that. That's what is Vidyanta Devataha. And Sanatha Jaiva Bhurbhuvati. That means to say, now the world feels that there is somebody who is really caring for the world. World is caring because of the good reasons. And that good manifests in the form of this. Somebody lives that kind of an activity. One Shankara is enough for 1,000 years. One Krishna was enough for 5,000 years. One Rama was good for 10,000 years. So that's what is the way that it elevates them. So Modante Pitaro, Nrityanti Devataha. This Nrityanti is a very beautiful idea, saying that Natya, Nritya comes from that. That means actually the way that the creation takes place is in form of Nataja dancing. The dancing is the one which created that. Now, what happens with this is that the whole dance means basically every activity becomes like a dance. Every activity becomes like a extraordinary, wonderful celebration, creation together with that. Together with that, that's what is Vidyante Devata. So, because, a very good, proper kind of a dance that is there, it can give a feeling of the God's presence there right away. You feel like going in front of it. You can create, without anything, you can create that kind of a. So that's what I express when, Shilpa, I go with, I don't know, Germany. I tell her that these are the moments that you will see. They all feel it. Actually, the other day, Anand said, "Are you bringing Shilpa again?" Because now the Shilpa, yeah, she will come along with me. So, Nasti tetu jati vidya rupa kula dhana kriyati vedaha. In this particular elevation, in this particular feeling, absolutely there is no difference at all. See, it is beyond all these things. Where you are born, what you are born with, and what is the kind of background that you are born with, all those things are forgotten. They do not come into the picture. Jati, Vidya, what is that knowledge that you have? What have you learned? That's the reason why we see that all these bhaktas, they have come ordinary life that they have come, and then they don't have any schooling like Mirabai, what is schooling that here? And then Vidya, Rupa. How do you look like? Doesn't matter. In fact, this Kasargod, Swami Ramdas, Papaji people call it. At the age of 60 years that he became a sannyasi, he went around the whole country, became such a great saint. Age one. Kula, Dhana, Kriya, Veda. What you do, what is the Dhana? All these things do not come into the picture. But then, in spite of the fact all those things do not matter, but we need to do the sadhana. The sadhana is something that we need to do, but sadhana is not going to result into this. You do the sadhana, you do the meditation, you do these things, you do puja. All these methods are given, but everything is there. They do not give you. You do it to dissolve yourself, but then that whatever that is there, that happens. So, nasti teshu jati vidya kula rupa dhanadi kriyadi vedaha, no other veda. Yatastadiyaha. That's what is the last sutra, 73rd sutra, because this is how it is. Yatastadiyaha. And because all these things, you see, there is nothing which is outside the divinity. There is nothing outside the divinity. What happens is that in every activity, everything that is there, you can always see that you don't get caught up at the lower levels, but you can rise to a higher level. And that is something yathastadiya. That elevation is always there. Like, for example, this is what is, whatever may be the plant, it may be a weed, and maybe a nice, wonderful flower plant, or it may be something like a big tree. Everything has to go up in the upward direction. Prana will take in the upward direction, whether it is this way or that way. So, even at the level of prana itself, there is nothing inferior or superior. Naturally, this also goes up. And that's what we have seen right from the beginning also. The dog loves you, whether you are rich or poor, whether you are smart looking or not looking, educated, not educated. Love is something which is beyond all these things. Love itself can be beyond all those things. Naturally, this elevation is something beyond all these things. So, yathastadiyaha, because the very nature itself is like that. The going in the upward direction. The nature itself of the river is to go in the downward direction. Nature of the energy is to go in the upward direction. That's what it takes. This is what is basically the way Bhakti Sutra is all about. Bhakti takes us there. We'll stop it here.
It is a natural flow which is to go
Yes.
outwards, then why sometimes many times we go downwards or it is because of everything we should bring the intellect or
Yeah, we made so much intellectual. And another thing is we equated everything with the material. We equated with the materials in such a way that the money, house, this, car, riches, and not only these things, material also that what is the intellectual ability, this, even those things which are connected with the material world, we equated that. In fact, that's unfortunate thing that say that a poet might be a wonderful poet, but how many poems he has written, how many things that he has done. It's small little simple things also, I keep telling that. Like for example, a social service organization. You're doing good work, that's it. But how to improve that? How many more sectors that we have to start? How many more we have trained? And it don't go by that. Even the big institutions, they go by, unfortunately, this number, material world outside. Number is material world. Number of papers, how many papers have we written in the field of, my God.
Yeah, you get that twisted.
Yeah, I always laugh at the whole thing. In fact, about the papers, there's one great researcher, his name, some Houston, what is his name? That girl, she showed that in his talk, he said that if a person has done published more number of papers, that means he's not doing research. He's interested in preparing papers rather than doing the research. Because I keep hearing that kind of thing. They have done some research, some idea. Yeah, this idea, you can write 3 papers, you can write 5 papers. This is what people talk about. That means number of papers are important. What's the content of research that you are doing? That's not important.
One big doubt, I don't know, sorry to repeat again. I am confused this Ananyatva and Tanmaya. What is the difference or what is the similarity?
Ananyatva is still there are two, but actually the difference, the feeling that you get is that second is not different from me.
That is Ananyatva.
Ananyatva. Anyatva not being there.
Yeah.
Tanmayatva, that means you become that itself. Now you are not there. God also is not there. There's no question of you are God. That means now you become that.
So the becoming state.
You're becoming completely. Yeah, it is no more, it's a being state.
So Ananyata is I realize we are one.
Yes.
And
Tanmayatva is that it is like the way that a river merges into the ocean. Now you can't separate the river from the ocean. It has become its ocean itself.
And that is when the river is coming closer to the ocean.
Yes.
Realizes that finally we are one. So that is Ananyatva.
Ananyatva.
But the moment it merges,
it is Tanmayatva. Right.
Oh, it's a good thing.
And Tanmayatva will become only when even the river itself is not there, ocean is not there, only water is there. And the third component of it, only water.
There's no identity.
Yes. Absolutely no identity.
And in this Jati, Dharma, Mata, nothing is there. One example that comes to mind is, see that small child,
Yeah.
That the maid servant who comes, so much of love immediately they will.
Yes.
Not seeing what they are doing.
Right.
Their caste, nothing matters. Only that love will matter. They will be a king and be.
I've shared one video, the group that is, one baby said, she's from Africa, she's going back and there's a white family. And the children, they just could not bear that baby said, they go rushing to the lady in the airport. And that lady is also crying, and the children are crying, don't go be there.
So that child never sees the color or
yes.
Nothing is seen.
Only love is there. That's what is Jati, Kula, that all those things are just, they're all material.
It's not there.
Yes. He says that, that there's another thing, I don't know whether it's shared or not, but that is there. The child says that I don't eat meat, I don't eat chicken. Why? Because that you have to kill a chicken to eat chicken, or you have to kill some goat to eat meat, something like that. But then why? We all eat and then you can eat. No. You mean, why don't you eat? I know goat will not like being killed. I know chicken will not like being killed. I don't want to do that. If chicken does not like to be killed, I don't want to eat. Simple argument for the child. Chicken doesn't want to be killed. So that's why I don't want to eat chicken.
So in Rasa Leela also,
yes.
the beginning, the Gopikas were feeling that
there was one Krishna and then there was one Krishna and they were there actually. But then as the way that they proceeded, then they started getting the feeling that Ananyatva was not there. But then when the Rasa Krida completed at that time, they feel that they're only that they have Krishna. The others completely eliminated. So that therefore, not only that the people that Gopikas who were there, that they were feeling that they are, even the cows feeling that they were Krishna with them, and then the river feeling Krishna with them, trees were feeling. So that's how 16,000. It's not just only the girls who were there. Everybody started feeling the Krishna was there with exclusively with me. It's absolutely exclusively. The other, no perception at all. This is what is the idea of oneness.
They were very fortunate to have that experience.
Yes.
In fact, we also identify with many people.
Right. So and that's why a lot of people report also. Yeah, you are exclusively addressing me. And the others were there, 1,000 people were listening. No, you are talking to me only. Musicians, you are singing for me only. Ananyatva. That Ananyatva happened, that's the reason why afterwards Krishna went away from he went to Mathura from Vrindavan. That's over. That was the ultimate of Krishna. That was the extraordinary piece of Krishna. After Krishna.
But after receiving, getting that Tanmayatva feeling,
Yes.
they were constantly in that state.
Yes, right. Yes. They were in that state.
So, as a human experience, get into that, come out. Is there a state where we can merge and become that?
Actually, you don't come out of it. Even the case also that if you think of it, you remember only that kind of a thing.
Okay.
The rest of the world and rest of activity is going on. But in the background of it, you still have that one thing which is really purified. It will not help, it will not unnecessarily get. Again, you see, it is like this that even the Tanmayatva is something different, but Ananyatva itself will not allow you to go back to a different direction. Tanmayatva definitely will not. How can you become something different? You become that. There is nothing else left in you after Tanmayatva. You may be doing the work, you may be involved in the work and all that. See, that's what we think that I'm getting involved in that work, I'm not there. No, you're always there. At the background, you are there. You are that consciousness. It is there. You don't have to worry about it. That's why, Kabir, he was into that Tanmayatva. After Tanmayatva, he came back and he was weaving the same clothes, he was doing the same work as a weaver. He said, but you had that experience, but you are still, yeah, now I weave. Everything I weave is for the sake of Ram, nothing else.
when these people with near death experience, that, then they know that is.
Yeah.
And they just interact, but
Right.
they are money that in the background.
Yes, the background is there always there. That's important. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Anyone has any doubt, you can unmute yourself and. Is there any chat? Okay, does anyone has anything to ask? Okay.